Hi, my name is Darren Joseph, HEJ.tax. I'm talking to you from Panama, where I'm just spending a few hours after having spent 2 weeks in Uruguay and in Paraguay. Okay, so let's talk now about Paraguay. Paraguay as a plan B. So I did an hour-long podcast with Paul Kittson, and he's a Paraguay expert. We did it probably about 2 weeks ago. So have a look at our website, have a look at our YouTube channel or podcast page, wherever it is that you're listening to this, and you should be able to take a deeper dive into Paraguay if that is of interest to you. Or you can just do a search for Paul Kittson. Paul Kittson, Paraguay Plan B. And he's going to pop up. He is super popular on Twitter. I think that's where he spends a lot of his time getting that message out. But just generally speaking, having spoken to Paul and visited Paul in Paraguay and spoken to a couple lawyers in Asuncion as well, I think Paraguay can be a decent plan B depending on what you're looking for. It is. Why do I say that? Well, it has one of the easiest second residencies in Latin America to get. It's really understated. Yeah, I know people are really into Ecuador and people talk a lot about Panama and Mexico, but Paraguay is super attractive as well. It is a relatively easy, not very bureaucratic process. I went over, I took my police certificate, I took my birth certificate, of course, my passport to get there. And my birth certificate and my police certificate were both apostilled. And yeah, the entire process from police fingerprinting, notary public, immigration office visits, together with my lawyer, it was all done in about 3 hours. And that's it. I'm now a resident. I do have that, like a back pocket residence for Paraguay. One of the attractive things about Paraguay as opposed to other jurisdictions is the light touch when it comes to residency. You don't need to check in every 6 months. You don't even need to check in every year, depending on how you look at it. You need to be there for a couple of days every 2 years or so. And it's more or less and then afterwards, I think after 2 years, you get a permanent resident, and that's it. So it is an easy to maintain residency for those for whom that is of interest. You get a Mercosur residency card, and for those who are not familiar, Mercosur is a trade bloc. It's a variant of the EU. Of course, it's not as cohesive and efficient as the EU, but it's an economic grouping for South America that hinges around Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil. So you get a Mercosur residence card as well as a Paraguay driver's license, and it gives you really easy travel privileges within Mercosur region. So I've seen some people, they have concerns. Of course, we live in uncertain times, and it does check the box that Paraguay is landlocked, so it doesn't have a coast. So it doesn't get embroiled in any unreasonable foreign conflicts, and it is food and water sufficient for those for whom that is a concern. And it may sound a bit eccentric, but increasingly I'm speaking to clients and to prospects, again, who are completely location independent. They're able to run their businesses online. They're able to live off their investments, and they live comfortably. They and their families live well, and they are looking to diversify. They're looking for a place just in case things get kind of weird that they can retreat to and feel relatively isolated from any of the drama that's going on elsewhere in the world. I don't want to get into it, but you know what I'm talking about. And Paraguay does indeed offer that. Of course, being primarily an international tax team, it would be remiss of me not to mention that Paraguay has a very clean and easy to understand territorial tax system. The government is a little bit to the right by Latin American standards, and therefore they're pretty light touch when it comes to tax. So it is 10% is a headline tax rate, but it is territorial. In other words, you do not pay tax on your foreign source income, which is super attractive and relatively rare in that neighborhood. So territorial tax, last but not least, it is relatively safe. When you look at basically measures of safety, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Chile tend to be your top three within Latin America. So Paraguay does very well. So again, those are my thoughts. That's my experience. But what do you think? What do you think about Paraguay?
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.